One of the biggest challenges facing any independent podcaster is that of time. How do we max out our time as a podcaster, especially when so many of us are doing this in our spare time and we're being told by, well, people like me that we need to do more marketing, we need to do more business development. One of the easiest ways to overcome that time conundrum is by recruiting your podcasting team, but it's not as easy as it sounds, and there are so many services popping up now professing to be able to give you that time back. And that is what I'm going to discuss here today on the Podcast Accelerator. I'm your host, Mark Asquith, CEO and co-founder of Rebel Base Media, the technology company that builds a plethora of podcasting goodness, including the world's #1 managed WordPress platform for podcasters, podcast websites. We build the podcastsuccessacademy.com, and we also build, of course, the stealth tech startup Productivity, plus maybe the one that we're most famous for right now, Captivate.fm, the world's only growth-oriented podcast host, which is making waves in the podcasting industry for its ease of use and very innovative features. So if you want to try a podcast hosting platform with a little personality and a lot of flair, go and check it out at Captivate.fm for free for 7 days. Now, like I said, overwhelm is hard. And in podcasting, things can really get on top of you because, heck, there's always someone, well, like me, there's always someone telling you that you need to do extra stuff to promote your show. I get it. I understand it. I'm an independent podcaster. I don't have a team that helps me outside of publishing. I do everything else myself. We do all the graphics internally. And I understand how difficult it is. So I want to talk to you today about hiring your team to help. But before I do that, a quick reminder that the show is brought to you by AWeber, the wonderful email marketing platform. Now, you might be thinking, Marco, you're just telling me that Overwhelm is really, really difficult. Well, you know, it is. I understand that. And one of the things that I want you to do is to automate a little bit of the relationship building with your listeners, because ultimately your job as a creator is to curate some of the finest content that you put out and expose that content to brand new people. Email marketing, email relationships is one of the very best ways to do that. So I want you to go and check out AWeber now. They are my recommended choice of email service provider. I use them every single day, and you too can jump on board for 30 days free, actually, at markasquith.com/AWeber. Right, so there are so many services popping up now that will kind of, outsource all of your podcasting goodness. They will take all of your podcasting goodness and automate a lot of it for you. And these services aren't cheap. They're not cheap. And ultimately, one of the things that frustrates me about many of these services is they're not actually helping you to grow. Because if you think about it, what people tend to do is they'll outsource their editing, they'll outsource their social posting, outsource some of the bits that they perceive to be marketing, and then they just go and get back on the content hamster wheel. They literally just go and get back on the content hamster wheel. And that's not really going to help you grow your show. It's going to make you feel a little bit better about yourself because you've hired someone in, but your numbers probably aren't going to change because you'll just keep producing content. You will purely just keep producing content. And what will happen is that you'll feel, okay, I've got more time now, I can do more stuff. And as a creator, you'll just think, I'll just create more stuff. So when it comes to recruiting your podcast team, one of the things that I want to just urge you to think about is actually, are you recruiting in the right places? So let's say, for example, that, you've got, let's say maybe you've got $100 per week that you can allocate to your show, and you've got 5 hours per week that you can allocate time-wise to your show. And you already spend that full 5 hours editing, producing, creating, putting your social posts out there, and so on and so forth. So your natural way to recruit would be to say, well, wait a sec, if I can spend $100 a week on someone to help me with this, I'll get some bandwidth back so I can spend more time on marketing. Now, that's all right. That is all right if you are a professional marketer. But if you're not a marketer, or if you don't know how to grow your show, or you're not in growth, what are you going to do with that 5 hours? You're going to flounder around. You're going to kind of fill your time just doing nice social posts and bits that you think look nice. But they're not really going to grow your show because that's not your vocation. Maybe you're a mortgage provider. Maybe you're a solicitor, an accountant. Maybe you're an entrepreneur, a business person. Maybe you're a fitness coach. Maybe you're someone that just loves creating audio, and podcasting is one piece of the puzzle for you, and you create it because you love creating, or you're doing it to fill the back end of your business. You're using it to generate a sales pipeline or build a network. Well, if you aren't a marketer, Like I said, what are you going to do? Spend that 5 hours a week learning marketing, learning growth tactics? Because ultimately, that's what you want to spend the money on. Let's not pretend, the money that you put into recruiting a team is so that you can grow the show. That is it. So I would urge you to maybe look at this a little differently. Why bother changing what you're doing? If you're happy with your editing, as long as you don't hate it, if you are happy with the production that you do, happy with the recording that you do, why not spend that time recruiting someone more specialist? Why not, instead of going to one of these all-in-one companies that will edit and produce and publish and market your show, which is basically they're just going to post it on social media. Like, is that really marketing? Is it? I don't think you see any other business in the world just doing that as their marketing, so just question that. Why not, instead of spending money on that, stick to what you're doing? If you're happy with the time input that you're putting in, as long as you're not breaking your back and hating it, and that's the key, as long as you're not hating it, why not spend that $100 a week, not on getting your 5 hours back? Why not spend that $100 a week recruiting a specialist marketer? And I don't mean a podcast marketer, because there are no specialist podcast marketers. There aren't. The people that say they're specialist podcast marketers are just marketers that have seen that there's money in the podcasting industry. Believe me, all right? So instead, find a local marketing company. Find a marketing company online that's got a proven track record in content marketing, in building brands, in generating revenue, and go and talk to them. Okay? Now, this is completely contrary advice to what most people will tell you. Completely contrary advice. Now, you might be thinking, Mike, that sounds really obvious and really logical, but believe me, I don't know anyone that's doing this. I don't know anyone that's doing it. Every single podcaster that I speak to wants to recruit in so that they can do less. So that they can do less. And if they don't want to do less, what they want to do is suddenly feel like they're going to give themselves plenty of time back to learn marketing. There's no point. Like, if I want to build a house, I'm not going to invest that money in learning bricklaying and architecture. I'm going to invest that money in specialists. All right? So think that through. It's not the obvious advice that someone's going to give you, okay? But I think it's important to understand where your gaps are, where you want to truly get time back. Like, if you hate editing, fine, outsource your editing. But if you want to grow your show and you're happy with the time you're putting in, you're happy with the quality of your content and of your production, don't worry about outsourcing that stuff. Get some help to grow. All right, get some help to grow. Now, I've actually put some growth tactics together for you. Go and check out markasquith.com/grow, the 9 unconventional ways that you can build your podcast growth in just 5 minutes per day. That's a book that we give out at conferences. If you don't have a copy of that, you can get one free, markasquith.com/grow. So please go and check that out. Very, very interesting. Very, very powerful stuff, very strategic stuff, very conceptual stuff that you can use, all right? So please take heed of my feedback, take heed of my advice, and, I'm never saying that I'm right with any of this stuff, but I'm passing on the knowledge that I've used to build multiple businesses over the years, all right? This stuff works, okay? So if you need anything, give me a shout at Mr. Asquith on Twitter. That's where I have most of my conversations these days. Hit me up at Mr. Asquith on Twitter. Until the next time, thank you for joining me, and never forget, the more you expect from yourself, the more you will excel. Bye-bye.